When someone looks you in the eye and says, "You did a fantastic job on that presentation," your internal monologue doesn't say, "Thank you." It screams, "Identify the threat." You don't blush, you brace for impact. To the average social butterfly, a compliment is a verbal bouquet, a harmless gift wrapped in good intentions. To you, it is an unsolicited loan with an adjustable interest rate that you never signed up for. You aren't being modest, and you certainly aren't fishing for more. You are simply auditing the transaction and realizing that accepting this praise creates a debt you cannot afford to repay. It feels like a setup, a preamble to a request, or a trap designed to lower your defenses before the real blow lands. Society operates on a chaotic barter system where validation is the primary currency. Most people hoard these coins, stuffing their pockets with "nice shirt" and "great idea" to inflate their ego's net worth. But your internal economy is strictly regulated by a draconian central bank. You operate on a zero-sum basis. When someone tries to deposit a massive check of admiration into your account, your fraud detection algorithms go haywire. You know that if you accept this valuation now, the market expects you to maintain that stock price forever. It is not a gift, it is a burden of performance. You deflect the praise not because you hate yourself, but because you are trying to avoid a market crash when you inevitably have a bad hair day or turn in a mediocre report. You are managing expectations to prevent a recession. If you accept the title of genius today, you become liable for stupidity tomorrow. Let's drag this onto the operating table and look at the neurology, because your reaction isn't a personality quirk, it is a violent immune response. We are talking about the anterior cingulate cortex, the brain's error detection center. Your brain holds a baseline schematic of who you are. Let's call it the patient zero identity. If your internal schematic reads average competence or struggling survivor, and someone injects a high-dosage compliment labeled absolute brilliance, your neural circuitry treats it like a failed organ transplant. The neuroscience dictates that the brain craves consistency above happiness. When the external input, the praise, violently clashes with the internal data, your self-image, your psychological white blood cells swarm the area to reject the foreign tissue. This is cognitive dissonance in its most visceral form. You aren't being difficult, you are preventing systemic organ failure. Accepting the compliment requires rewriting your entire genetic code of self-perception, which is metabolically expensive and risky. Your brain prefers a known hell to an unknown heaven. So, you surgically remove the compliment with a self-deprecating joke to stabilize the patient and return to homeostasis. You are excising the tumor of positivity before it metastasizes into an expectation you cannot fulfill. In the grand espionage thriller of human evolution, visibility is usually a death sentence. The tall poppy gets the scythe, and the loud bird gets the hawk. For thousands of years, survival depended on blending into the underbrush, not standing on a rock screaming about your achievements. By rejecting compliments, you are engaging in high-level tradecraft. You are maintaining your cover as a harmless, average entity to avoid drawing fire from envious rivals or demanding tribe leaders. When someone spotlights your excellence, they are effectively blowing your cover in the middle of a mission. Your reflex to say, "Oh, it was nothing," or "I just got lucky," is a tactical smoke bomb designed to obscure your competence. You are convincing the potential enemy that you are not a threat, so they will leave you alone to do your work in the shadows. It is not low self-esteem, it is elite camouflage designed to keep the target off your back. If they think you are special, they will watch you. If they watch you, they will catch you slipping. You deflect to remain invisible. The world labels this behavior modesty, which implies a virtuous attempt to be humble. That is a lie. You are not trying to be a saint. You are an auditor obsessed with data accuracy. When someone says, "You are the funniest person I know," and you correct them, you aren't fishing for reassurance. You are correcting a clerical error in the ledger. You know for a fact that Dave from accounting is funnier, and you possess a spreadsheet of evidence to prove it. Accepting the compliment feels like signing off on a fraudulent financial report. You cannot legally or ethically endorse a statement that is statistically improbable. It creates an itch in your brain that can only be scratched by setting the record straight. You deflect because you refuse to cook the books just to make the shareholder feel warm and fuzzy. You value the truth of the audit over the comfort of the interaction. Let's examine the forensics of the social trap you are caught in. Society places you in a sterile isolation chamber with no exit. If you accept the compliment with a confident, "I know," you are diagnosed with a pathogen of arrogance. If you reject it too hard, you are quarantined for fishing for compliments. It is a biological double bind where every surface is contaminated. Your solution, the awkward deflection, is a desperate attempt to scrub in and sterilize the field before the infection spreads. You attribute your success to luck, or timing, or the team, effectively diluting the potency of the praise so it doesn't poison the dynamic. You are trying to keep the social environment aseptic. You realized long ago that the only way to survive the outbreak of social judgment is to neutralize the virus before it enters your bloodstream. You are playing a rigged game where the only winning move is to dissolve the game board. You treat the compliment like a biohazard, sealing it in a bag and handing it back to the sender to ensure your own safety. Here is your new operational directive. You do not have to believe the compliment to cash the check. View the phrase "thank you" not as an agreement of value, but as a signature required to close the file. It is a burn notice. It ends the interaction immediately so you can return to the shadows. If you argue, the interrogation continues. If you accept, the agents leave. Take the compliment, put it in a lockbox, and ignore it. You are not accepting their reality. You are simply ending the heist and getting away with the loot. Treat the interaction like a final transaction receipt. Sign the bottom line, take the goods, and walk out of the bank before the alarm rings. Would you like me to explain how your brain's error detection system might also be sabotaging your ability to accept constructive criticism?